years, and I don't know, they flipped the switch this year. They weren't that great even this last season, but
2 points ahead of the Flyers in the standings. That's it.
All of a sudden, the mix is working. The Fire Lindy chants at the start of the season were replaced by Sorry Lindy chants a few weeks later, and they are rocking and rolling at the top of the league, coming off a shootout loss though to Nashville. So it's funny, they're at the top of the league. They're coming off a shootout loss to Nashville, and their team's complaining about their slow starts. Well, watch tonight.
Yeah. I mean, here's the number: 19-2-1 since they started 0-2 on the season. The Devils have gone 19-2-1 in 22 games. Right? That's the number, right?
Yeah,
22.
Yeah.
86 goals for in that period, 45 goals allowed. That's an amazing run that they're on. They lost their last one in overtime, so that's where the one comes from, the OTL.
Right.
But I mean, they're a team right now that is just absolutely got together. They're playing well. They're getting it from all over the lineup, but they're really getting it from some of their young players. And Jack Hughes is leading the way. He's been excellent for this Devils team.
Well, that's the key to it, I think, for me, is that it's coming from everywhere. It's not just one or two guys, getting all the goals. That number you threw out there, I think on the total season, is just above 90, because it includes those first two games. But 90 some odd goals as a team. Their leading goal scorer is Hughes with 12. And then you got Heishier with 10. Jesper Bratt's got 9, and then everything else is spread. I mean, there's one guy that has appeared in a game for the New Jersey Devils this year that has not scored a goal, and that's Brendan Smith. Everybody else that has appeared in a game for this team this year has scored at least one goal. So that is the key to success there, is spreading that out like that and being able to score with all four lines and against anybody that might be put out against them.
Yeah, including 6 goals from a D-man, Dougie Hamilton, 6 goals from a D-man, Miles Wood, 3 goals from Ryan Graves on the blue line. John Marino's got 2 on the blue line. Jonas Siegenthaler has got a goal on the blue line. Severson's got 2. They're getting it from up front, from their centers, their wingers, and their D. And that's why they're 4th in the NHL in scoring. You're right. They have 90 goals on the button so far this season, 4th in the NHL in average of goals for in comparison to games played. 3.75 goals per game. Compare that to the Flyers, Brian, who come into this game 32nd.
We have to
2.38 goals per game.
Oh my goodness,
that's an amazing difference.
And that's again, a big factor of that is the injuries to almost exclusively forwards. That's been just bogging them down this entire time, and we're hopeful that that's going to start to remedy itself. Cam Atkinson talked to the media today, said he's feeling better every day. He feels like he's getting close, but he's not ready to come back in the lineup yet in a form where thinks he can help this team. So he's still working his way back. James Van Riemsdyk has been on the ice with the players in the last couple of days, although in a non-contact jersey. So he might be coming back. And, then once we get into, the first of the year, we'll see where Sean Couturier is. Bobby Brink has had a February target on him. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, that's the biggest difference. It's not the defense that the Flyers have been playing. It's the fact that they haven't been able to score any goals. And speaking of not scoring goals, by the way, Brendan Smith in 595 career games has 33 goals.
Wow.
That's below a Nick Schultz pace.
Yeah.
He's obviously brings a lot more to this team than offense.
Here's an interesting couple of numbers on the New Jersey Devils. They're second in the NHL in generating shots for at 36.1 shots per game. They are only allowing 26.2 shots per game, which is also number 2 in the NHL. When you have that kind of disparity between shots generated and shots allowed, it's rare. Sometimes a team gets a lot of shots, but also gives up a decent amount.
Right.
Carolina and New Jersey kind of debunk that and are 2 of the top 3 teams in the NHL in that gap between the 2, which tells you that they do a good job getting the puck out of their zone when you get in there. They don't give up a lot of second chance opportunities. Their breakouts and their zone exits have been very good. And then once they get it to the offensive zone, they cause some of those opportunities and second chance opportunities with a good forecheck to allow them to maintain time there to get more shot generation.
And the thing that really kind of surprises me about the whole thing is that they're doing it without Mackenzie Blackwood. He's been out since his seventh game in. He was injured, and he's been out since then. At the time, it was targeted to be 4 to 6 weeks. I believe that was right at the end of October that happened. But they have gotten stellar goaltending from not only Vitek Vanacek, who's the one guy you've probably heard of, but Akira Schmidt is the one guy maybe you haven't. He is 4-0 with a 1.24 goals against average and a 9.53 save percentage. So
that's what we'll see tonight.
Yeah, I believe so. And so that's key that those two guys were able to step up and make it a seamless transition from Mackenzie Blackwood, because a lot of times if you're rolling along like that and your goalie gets hurt, that's going to be the end of whatever you were doing. Now, I still think that this is a Devils team. They could prove me wrong, but it doesn't strike me as all that sustainable. This team could be 1 or 2 injuries away from the wheels falling off, but I think down the line here, as this team matures and gets more experienced, they're going to be back to being a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, they're right now 8 points up on the second spot in the division with the same amount of games played as the Canes. They've got 39 points. The Canes have 31. The Islanders have played 1 more game than both of those teams and are 9 points back. The Penguins have played the same amount of games and are 11 points. I mean, this pace that they're on is really stunning. Now, the Flyers did open season against the Devils earlier this year, and that was a Flyers win to open the season. It was a 5-2 win. Mackenzie Blackwood was in that game, as a matter of fact. And the Flyers in that game, they were outshot, I believe, I want to say 37-25. I'm bringing it up now. I'll tell you. 37-25. Good memory by me. The face-offs in the game, 42 face-off wins for the Devils, 27 for the Flyers. This game must have went on for a day and a half with all those draws.
Yeah, something like that.
Holy.
The thing, too, about the Devils, when you look at the grand scheme of things, is that, as they've been rolling through here, they've been doing things that only Devils teams in the past have done when they've made it to the Stanley Cup final. This month that they've had here of November, where they had, I think, 11 wins, hadn't been done since the only other time they'd done that was in 2001 when they went to the Cup final, lost to Colorado. They won 2 years later. So they're doing things that only the top Devils teams have done over the years. It's interesting to look at some of the other teams that had gone 11-0-1 or better in the month of November. The 85-86 Flyers were on that list, which that team really was better than either of the ones around it that made the Cup final. Of course, that was the year that we lost Pelle and Lindbergh, and that kind of just was too much for that team to overcome. But that team finished first overall in the NHL the year before the President's Trophy became a thing. That's why the Flyers never won a President's Trophy, because it didn't exist until after that. But there's a lot of teams out there who have had a start like this turn into something very good. So it'll be interesting to see if this Devils team can indeed maintain that throughout the year.
No question about it. Let's take our first time out. It is Flyers game day. We are live at the East Food Hall at Wells Fargo Center, presented by Betway. And we'll be back. We'll give you the line combinations when we return for the Flyers, and we'll look at a couple of those for the Devils as well. Flyers-Devils at the top of the hour. Stay tuned. You're listening to Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network. And we're back at Wells Fargo Center. It's the East Food Hall as the Flyers get set to take on the New Jersey Devils tonight. And Flyers were looking to replicate how they opened the season. They had that 5-2 win over the Devils. By the way, birthday wishes tonight. Let's do birthday wishes here on the program. Happy 74th birthday to John Michael Osborne, better known as Ozzy Osbourne, godfather of heavy metal. So I figured I'd bring that out.
Yeah.
So,
I thought you were going to the next one.
no, that's the only one I got.
Lou Nolan's birthday.
Yeah.
77, good old Lou. I've been sitting with Lou the last week or so during games, and I'm just, I got to keep an eye out for Gritty and his team because this is a new suit, and I don't want to be within the splash zone if Gritty delivers his take in the traditional method.
You don't want to catch any shrapnel.
No. Not on this nice new jacket. We saw. I don't know if you saw Paul Bissonette get one.
I did see that. Yeah, Biz took one tough in the
very well done. That's on Twitter. If you want to check that out.
Yeah, I'm sure Biz loved that. Let's get to the line combinations for this game tonight because, again, they're interesting. They are. Let's start with the Flyers' pseudo top line, I guess we'll call it. And I asked Torts about this earlier in a meeting with him. Noah Cates with Kevin Hayes and Travis Konechny. Now, what I asked him about was the fact that Hayes and Konechny have been connected. We've talked about that, you and I, quite a bit, right?
Yep.
And I asked him if there's any difference with being connected with a player when he's not playing center because Cates is in the middle. But no, he said those two can play off each other as wingers as well. So, I mean, you're really opening up Kevin Hayes to be an offensive catalyst. We know that Konechny is an offensive catalyst, and you have a very responsible, beyond his years, frankly, player in Noah Cates in the middle. So I'm really intrigued by that.
So, for those of you who may not be as stitched into hockey as maybe some others, the center on a hockey team has increased defensive responsibilities as opposed to the wingers. A center is expected to be back checking, to be supporting the defense, and really is almost like maybe a midfielder in soccer a little bit, or lacrosse, right? Those midfield positions. So the reasoning here is that Kevin Hayes is not the best defensive player. The Flyers knew when they brought him in. They brought him in for his offense. And so what they're doing here is by putting him on the wing, taking a little bit of the pressure off him to not have to worry about defense as much and just worry about the offensive prowess. Because right now, like we've been saying, Flyers are not scoring any goals. They need something from Kevin Hayes. So that's kind of the design here with this line. And, again, Noah Cates. Remember last year when Noah Cates came in here, and there were some times when, there were some times when he made some post-game comments where it was like, okay, I don't know why we do these certain things this way, but I'm just a rookie, so I'm not going to say much. He is ahead of his years in that regard, and I don't remember exactly how many years his college career was, but he was one of those guys who was drafted for it. And did he go all four?
Yeah,
I think so. So I think he was drafted. Maybe had a year junior before. I don't know, but he came in as an older, more mature rookie, which is what you get a lot of times when you're drafting an NCAA player, and that showed last year, and I think it's showing this year, and it's why John Tortorella wants to give him this responsibility because he knows that he can be back there down low and defending and just letting Hayes worry about being up top and waiting for the outlet passes.
He played parts of 3 seasons. Now, in 15-16, he only played 2 games in the USHL for the Omaha Lancers. Then he played 11 games the next year, 60 games in 17-18. Then he did 4 years at Minnesota Duluth, won a national championship.
So 1 more junior year after his draft year.
Yeah.
And then 4 in college. Yeah. So sometimes it's 2 juniors and junior, depending on, I guess, where your birthday is.
Yep.
But yeah, he did the whole 4 years. I've had trouble keeping him and Jackson straight sometimes. But yeah, he did do the full 4. He was a captain, I believe, at least the last 2.
I believe you're correct. So Noah Cates will be in the middle on that top line. The Flyers' second line, Lucas Sedlak in the middle with Owen Tippett and Max Willman. Now, Willman was a guy that's been in and out of the lineup, healthy scratch, moved down, sent down, called back up. and now you find yourself on the second line. So if you don't like where you are, just keep working, and you may end up in the top 6.
This is a team right now where whoever you are, you're going to get opportunities to do things, and there may not be a reason that you're getting those opportunities. They just might say, "What the heck? We got to try it because nothing else is working." So
yeah, if not generating offense, got to change.
He gets that opportunity tonight. He'll slot back in, and he's going to go up with obviously Owen Tippett, who is he was brought in here in the Giroux trade as a guy that was touted coming out of the draft as being a scorer, power forward. Didn't really see a lot of it in Florida. We've seen a little bit of it this year, and then Sedlak kind of came out of nowhere. He's been perhaps one of the Flyers' best forwards the last couple of weeks, but Willman has the skating ability, and he can move, and so that's
straight line forecheck.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for out of this line. I think is speed straight down the line, and seeing if they can't catch the Devils, trying to cheat the other way, which we understand they like to do a little bit. So if you got to break this defensive stalwart somehow, speed is one way to do it.
The Flyers' third line, and look, I don't know if these are in any kind of order.
And they may not be in effect after the first period either. So.
Yeah, exactly. All pending how things go. But I'm as intrigued by this line as I am the Cates, Konechny, Hayes line, because it's got Frost in the middle, Farabee on the right, and Scott Laughton on the left. I think that's a line that can generate too. So
yeah, absolutely can.
I'm interested in that.
I thought Morgan Frost had a good couple of games against the Islanders. I know that there were some aspects of his game maybe that were a little bit deficient, but I felt like he was trying to make things happen up on the front end. He was trying to position himself well, power through some guys rather than just be steered to the corner or something like that. So I liked what I saw out of him in that particular game. Nobody was any good on Tuesday. What day is it? Saturday? Nobody was any good on Thursday. That's just the bottom line. Thursday was a clunker. It happens, you move on. And so that's what they're looking for tonight is for everybody to bounce back from Thursday. But Frost in particular, Farabee's another guy that they're trying to get going. And Lawton's just, he's a good, solid player. He's going to be buzzing everywhere, looking for every puck he can get. So you can support those two guys with that.
And I think maybe since like the fourth game of the season, this is the first time in a long time, to me it seems, that you have a fourth line that, it looks like a fourth line.
Yeah.
You got Patrick Brown who can take some, draws and good in the middle and, slotted properly with Zach McEwen and Nick Deslauriers. That line's intriguing to me too because they need to go out there and be a fourth line, like the Martin, Clutterbuck, Cizikas line, and go out there and just bang and, not give anything up, generate something if you can, and be physical and set a tone.
They're absolutely going to be a line that's not fun to play against. I can guarantee you that. Deslauriers, he gets down there in the corners, he gets down there behind the net, and he's just a nightmare. And McEwen this year has been, again, one of those guys that's been everywhere. You see him flying up the ice. You see him flying back down.
So much
the ice.
effort in his game.
A couple of times it's led to some penalties that he probably can't be taking. But I think again, the Flyers this whole season have said that they would like things to err on that side of things,
that
as
side
opposed
of
to the conservative side. Again, every now and then you're going to end up with a penalty that you got to deal with, and hopefully it doesn't hurt you too bad. But Patrick Brown is another guy that. Was injured early on, comes back, doesn't necessarily give you a huge scoring touch, but it does give you a pro veteran presence. He's got a ton of NHL games, but he's got a ton of pro games. And, he knows how to operate in that fourth line center position and, be the energy line that this team needs.
Yeah, and he's a guy that also had a back procedure done in the offseason as well. Didn't start off, but maybe getting his legs under him a little bit now. So let's take another timeout. We'll come back and we'll look at the D pairs. Because usually I go D pairs, chalk. Not the case tonight.
Nope.
So let's take one more time out here on the game day pregame show as the Flyers get set to take on the Devils. We'll give you the D pairs, starting goalies coming up. Stay tuned. Tim Saunders and Steve Coates at the top of the hour with the countdown to face-off and all the first period action between the Flyers and the Devils. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez listening to Flyers Game Day brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Back live at the East Food Hall, Wells Fargo Center. Flyers with Devils coming up momentarily. Tim Saunders and Steve Coates are sitting by, awaiting the broadcast and the countdown to face-off at the top of the hour.
I think Coates is on the couch.
No, I think he's sitting in the chair.
Okay. I'm just curious. Yeah. You never see what goes on up there this time of night.
Yeah, he's a chairsman.
We have a couch in the booth just for him.
Yeah,
It's
a nice couch.
We ordered it for him.
I have taken a nap on that.
Yeah, it's a good little spot. Yeah. Can't see the ice, but it's a good spot.
Yeah. No, I have not taken a nap on there during a game.
No.
It was in between like the Flyers and the Wings game.
Right.
They took a little snooze in there. Let's get to the D pairs. The top pairing, once again, this is now what, the third game in a row? Provorov and Ristolainen.
We like what we've seen out of this. Again, it was by necessity the first game because Tony DeAngelo was injured, and it worked well. They brought it back again. Again, Thursday's game was a bit of a turd, but to me, I was kind of impressed that the Flyers almost got out of that second period, only allowing one goal. Yeah, the way that period went. They held on, and so that pairing seems to have been effective to this point, and we'll get to DeAngelo here in a minute, but his game's still not where they want it to be, so they're just going to kind of let him try to work on it a little bit.
He's also easing his way back in from the injury.
Sure.
The banged up, playing a lot of minutes. The second pair sees a change in personnel. He goes Yegor Zamula, and it's Yegor now. It's not Igor. Yegor.
There's an A in there.
Okay, Yegor Zamula has been deactivated for this game, and Justin Braun comes back in, and he'll be paired alongside Travis Sanheim. Now, we've seen those two together quite a bit this year because Ristolainen was playing third pair, now he's playing top pair. So it's going to be Sanheim and Braun, and then that means DeAngelo, for the first time this year, is going to play alongside Nick Seeler on the third pair. So quite a bit of juggling here. Ristolainen's been on the first pair now, second pair, and the third pair. Sanheim has been on the second pair. I don't know that he's been in the top pair, and I don't think he's going third.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know if he ever jumped in with Provy or not. I think they were trying to avoid that.
Yeah. But DeAngelo, Braun, and Ristolainen have played in all three pairs.
Yeah. And the third pair, I'm interested to see that tonight because what you have there is you've got Seeler, who's just absolutely nasty. He gets down there and makes everybody's life difficult, and then DeAngelo's trying to jump into the play. So I am interested to see how those two work together. I think it's going to be a bit of a different mix for a deep pairing that we haven't really seen this year, and we'll see where it goes.
And the goaltender for the Flyers tonight, it will be Carter Hart tonight. He gets to start against the New Jersey Devils. Got to start in that first game of the season as well, and had 35 saves on 37 shots. And it'll be Akira Schmidt for the New Jersey Devils. As I brought up earlier, 4 games played, 4-0-0 record with a gaudy 1.24 goals allowed, goals against average, and a 953 save percentage.
Yep. Now again, that's a small sample size, 4 games, but that's a good start. And I don't know. Is Jonathan Bernier just a cap? Is that just for cap reasons that they have him on the team, or do they expect him to do something?
Yeah, they traded for him. He didn't play last year either.
Yeah. So he's still around. So they obviously maybe had to shuffle things a little bit in terms of what they were going to do moving forward, and they seem to have found a pretty good spot here in Schmidt.
Yeah. We'll see if that part is sustainable. And again, these two teams played on the opening night of the season. Flyers got that 5-2 win on that night, and we'll see if they can, one of the top teams in the league. I mean, it almost seems strange to say, but this team, that's where the New Jersey Devils are right now. When you look at points percentage in the NHL, you don't look at points because they've all played different amounts of games. They're right behind the Boston Bruins. The Bruins are at .864 points percentage. The New Jersey Devils are at .813.
Yeah.
And the third team is actually the Seattle Kraken, if you can believe that. At 15-5.
It's a good look on Dave Haxall out there out west. We're going to see them 2 games in a row here later on this season. We'll see
home and home.
Still chugging along at that point, but it's when you've got just kind of brings you to what today's NHL is. When you've got this Boston team, oh my goodness, look at these guys go! Wow, they're playing the NHL records here and doing things nobody's ever seen before, and then you got to see 4 points behind them.
Yeah,
it's like wow. that's not too far off of NHL record quality there. So they're going,
I believe, for a franchise record tonight in terms of a road winning streak are the Devils. They've won 10 in a row, I believe, from home, and they've never done that. Never won 11 before, so that could be something the Flyers spoiled.
Yeah, they've been excellent on the road this season. Matter of fact, better on the road than they've been at home.
I would be too
And
if I played that.
Well, yeah, you do make a very good point. And they are not in the Prudential Center tonight. They're at the Wells Fargo Center tonight. And the Flyers and the Devils, Tim Saunders and Steve Coates, they've got the countdown to face off all the first period action here tonight. Can the Flyers slow down this team that is 19-2-1 over the last 22 games? Well, stay tuned and find out. Tim Saunders, Steve Coates coming up next. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Enjoy your hockey, everybody.